Exhale, breathe out, all the way out, and breathe in. Deep breath in. Let the awareness come to your body, to your lungs as you hold at the top, and now you take a deep exhale. And now come on with me as we have the conversation about vaccines that nobody is having. This video going to be really interesting as we dive into a hot topic here, a very controversial subject, but I promise you in this video you're going to hear some thoughts that you have not heard anywhere else about what's going on. So if that sounds interesting to you and useful to you, then come on, Nalani, come on with a walk with me with the dog in the morning in beautiful Hawaii, out here with the sunshine and the birds and the bird song. And let's start with the small picture before we zoom out. People were mad about this. The vaccines is very divisive, and a lot of people are getting them. Governments trying to make people do it. Certain governments taking political stances on it. Certain companies are forcing people to do it, and a lot of people don't want to do it. As of now, there's about still over a third of the U.S. adults are unvaccinated. About 70 million adults, and many of them will not get vaccinated under any circumstance. No information can change their minds. No personal experience will change their minds. If they're prevented from doing certain things, then they won't do those things. So that's very interesting. And now what's interesting is, in the small picture, Nalani, come on. Come on, baby. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, baby. In the small picture, people are freaking out over, oh, you should do it, you should not do it. Oh, these people are, just like, you know the conversation. I don't need to repeat it to you, but let's take a step out on the big picture. So the big picture that I'm seeing here, which is interesting, is the idea that the government's lost control of the population. It's already happened. It's not just happening because the government wants people to get vaccinated, is not able to do it. And you go back to my mother, who's a boomer, her generation, when the polio vaccine, everybody got it, or at least that's the narrative. Nobody questioned it, at least that's the memory. Time's very different. I don't think people are going to look back and say, yeah, everybody's was down with vaccines like they were in the past. You look at Vietnam, it was not very popular. It was highly unpopular. It was disliked, and people still did it. Protested, but the government was able to forcefully draft 2 million people, send many of them to fight and die. And the government doesn't have that power anymore. Doesn't even have the power to get people to collect and pay their taxes on time, get people to comply with licensing. A lot of people's driver's license are expired, tags are expired. The government is just losing its grip. So why is the government losing its grip? What are some signs that this theory might be true? And if the theory is correct, what can you do to defend yourself? If that sounds interesting to you so far, hit the thumbs up button. Continue along with me. We're really not talking about the vaccine. We're talking about some big picture stuff here. Is the government losing control? I believe the government is losing control because of this shift to the information age. It has not been able to adapt. Social media is disrupting the state in the same way that the printing press disrupted the church, because controlling the dialogue, controlling the conversation is controlling the power, because you have to get people to believe things to go along with things. And prior to social media, the state has a whole lot of control over the news, and you can just throw the president on the news and everybody's listening now. It doesn't work that way anymore. Twitter and Facebook banned Donald Trump. Twitter and Facebook banned the sitting president. The state's lost control of propaganda, of discourse, and who's in control now? Is it Facebook and Twitter? Sort of. Facebook and Twitter are trying pretty hard to control the conversation, banning people here and there, and YouTube. But wherever they ban someone, somebody new spouts up and starts, ideas are viral. Any kind of idea can just go viral. in a way that was not possible. In the church age, it was not possible. Just 20 years ago. Times have really changed. So what are some other threats and some other signs? Well, one is cryptocurrency is a huge threat to the state because it threatens their use of money. We're going to come back to that because what are some other signs that the state could be losing power and in decline? And specifically the United States of America, but other governments around the world as we enter into a new age. Well, let's look at what happened when the Roman Empire declined. And there's plenty of instances of governments going into sort of collapse. Nalani, come on. This way. This way. This way. Well, when Rome was going down, the state was going bankrupt and it abandoned its garrisons on the outskirts, its troops on the boundaries, which could be a sign of pulling troops out of Afghanistan and withdrawing. Possibly, hey, financially we're not able to support this anymore. Maybe not. Other signs, the Roman Empire started to inflate its currency by clipping coins. We're also seeing modern governments, the US, doing this by rapidly expanding the money supply to pay for its, not even pay for its debts, but pay for the things that it needs to just try to operate. We also saw with the Roman Empire the expansion of taxes up to the point where farmers started to abandon their lands in the countryside because the taxes were too onerous. And I don't know about you, but I'm watching certain taxes really pop up. The capital gains tax in Hawaii went from 9% to 11% in a year. That's over a 20% increase. We're seeing property taxes increase at the same time that property values are inflating, which makes like a double taxation. We're seeing, come on, Lonnie, this way. Come on, dog. Come on. We're possibly seeing some signs of that in terms of the taxes. And we would see other things that we see during this time is just a high amount of dislike of politicians and bureaucrats. And maybe that's an always thing, but it seems to be at a sort of feverish pitch right now. So my thesis is that it's already basically happened. It's happening. The state's already lost control. It's just trying to stay alive. It's the state is controlled by its employees, which are the bureaucrats, and it's losing the ability to fund itself, and it's sort of collapsing. Now, it's not the end of the world, but what happens in a state collapse is a lot of chaos. There's a lot of land grabbing, things that, another sign is that the state loses its ability to control and protect people's private property rights, which, if you ask what is the role of government, the primary, basic, original role is to protect people's property. And you look in like San Francisco, Nalani, come on, this way. In San Francisco, can't even protect people's private property. Shoplifting's so out of control that petty theft is decriminalized, and either the state doesn't want to pay to protect or doesn't care or is unable to. For whatever reason, people's private property now is not protected. So that's another big red flag and a sign. I'm not telling you not to own property, but the government losing its ability to protect people's property rights or infringing on people's property rights by placing onerous taxes is something that can happen. So what is someone to do? Okay, if I'm right, how do you prep for this scenario? Again, it's not the end of the world. It's just a tectonic shift in the landscape of the world, of the social order. So the first thing is to be flexible and adaptable, to be able to change, have skills, a variety of skills, to be able to be flexible enough to learn new skills, be curious, be humble, be willing to change your opinion when presented with new information, because I think what we can expect is the unexpected. We can draw parallels from the past, but it's hard to say exactly how it's going to go, and or what order things are going to happen, or where your little small part plays in this. But I think what's clear is that you need to be flexible and adaptable and ready for some major change that may happen. So be flexible and adaptable, and that's another reason why I preach sobriety so much, because the more sober that you can be, the more prepared you can be to leave in the middle of the night or do whatever it is that you need to do. Just be clear to make good decisions. Okay, Now, what else can you do? That's the general thing. Things that I like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So many of the technological advancements in history have been aggressive and offensive, from the machine gun to the nuke and the tank and AI. But now we have defensive technology, way better than the lock and the safety deposit box, and that is the encryption, where if you store your Bitcoin correctly, not only can no one steal it, the government can't steal it, but you don't need the government's protection because nobody can get it from you. No amount of violence can even get it from you if you have a multi-signature security solution, which I'm not going to talk about what exactly that means, but it's something that you can look into. Another thing that I really like is email list, having an email list. Some of you are on my email list and starting to get emails from me. I like email lists, especially if you're an entrepreneur, online business. It's not for everyone, but email and phone numbers, because it's something that you own. You can print it out on a piece of paper that allows you to contact people. It's good to have followers in the information age, to have an audience. It's helpful, but you can lose your audience on Twitter, on Facebook, and YouTube. But if you have people's emails, you own that, and you can always email people. There's all kinds of different email servers. You can always email people. So that's another thing that I like. Those are some of the main things. If you have other suggestions of what you're doing to prepare, comment down below. And those of you who are interested in one-on-one help, you're hearing what I'm saying and you're like, my God, dude, you're right. This is scary. Nolani, hey! You're like, my God, dude, this is right. This is scary. I do one-on-one coaching, and there's a link to that down below. You can sign up and I can help you out. And yeah, you'd have someone in your corner in your life. Nolani, come here, come here, come here. And if you want that person to be me, to hold you accountable, then fill out the form down below and we can talk. And I can give you some strategy and some advice, and just be somebody in your corner who's going to help you survive and thrive in this transition, because it's not all bad. There's a lot of opportunity to really rise up and do well and thrive. So if that's what you're interested in, the thriving, then yeah, talk to me. Link down below. Go fill it out. One-on-one life coaching for young men. Okay, talk to you soon. Much love and peace.